Warning: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purpose such as a criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All people are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I reserve my First Amendment rights to express myself.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dish and Tea with D show. Let's see, today we got a lot to talk about. It is Sunday. I wasn't really supposed to come on this weekend, but the weather is blah, so I'm not planning on doing anything today. Everything I can either watch online or I can order and have it dropped off. So um I'm not going anywhere today. Yes, if you can see, let me see. You know what? Let me let's turn this off real quick. Denise, what are you doing? Let me turn this off real quick so that way y'all can see. It is, trust me, that is fake sun. That is not sun. It's actually really gloomy, and that's like a silver lining behind a cloud, actually. It is dark as anything can be, pitch black. And so is inside my house because usually I use natural light, and it's so depressing. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna put my background back on. Okay, so I'm gonna put my black background back on just in case I forget that I have that up. Okay, so which is really input used input device. It was plugged back in. Oh, did I accidentally unplug it? I'm sorry, guys. Oopsies. Pulled it too far. My bad. I'm trying to get adjusted here. Okay. Again, like I said, I wasn't really supposed to come on today, but it is Sunday. Hopefully, everybody's having a wonderful Sunday. Um, and everybody's staying safe and traveling well during these during this type of weather. So we're going to kind of go over a few things. We're going to start off with the Texas flooding, kind of update on that. Um, Sorry, guys. My son just doesn't like anybody to touch his stuff. Um, let's see. We're going to start off with the Texas flooding. As you may know, we had a horrific flooding here in Texas, around the Kerr County, Ingram um, part of Texas. It's, I think, about maybe 60 miles or so from Texas, between 30 to 60 miles. I'm really bad at predicting, distance, but, I think it's about 60 miles. I'm thinking it's closer to the 60 miles, but away from San Antonio. So again, these were really bad floodings. We've lost so many lives from during this time, young, old, all sorts of in between. So it's and they're still finding people. I think yesterday they finally found the last person that belonged to a certain location. You remember there was camp. This was most of the flooding hit camps. Local camps. Summer camps that were filled with children, filled with camp instructors and camp leaders and camp um, like management and things like that. So there were, of course, all ages from old to young, and A lot of people, I believe the last time I checked, the death toll was over 100, close to 130. I think it was like around 125. So a lot of people lost their lives, and then the storm continued to move to New Mexico, and you know they have some pretty hard weather too, where just like here in Texas, they had houses floating from one side of the county to the other side of the county. So it's been really rough, you know, due to the nature, due to Mother Nature with the weather, and along with all the other stuff that's going on in today's society. So it's taking a toll on people, and we're going to kind of hear some of this, kind of read some of the things and go over that again. Again, we are actually in a flood watch right now around local counties. I think again it's in close to the Kerr County. I think it's getting started slowing down there. I know it has been raining, and um for most of the morning. I know it from what I understand. They said it was starting to slow down and stuff like that, and make its way back to San Antonio. So again, we're on a flood watch, so everybody just keep a lookout. Make sure you have the necessary safety gear around you. Um, take all precautions. You got to have flashlights. If you're out in the by the water and you got extra, those inflatable rafts, anything like that, like a lot of that stuff, you definitely want to keep it handy. Radios that don't require any kind of like signals or anything like that. So your phone, make sure you're in service. If you lose service, like you got to have those old school radio waves radio where you got to have those antennas. So hopefully y'all stay safe. Let's kind of go over some of the. I want to make sure I have. We're gonna go. No, wrong one. Okay, we're gonna go here. I'm gonna share this screen real quick, and we're just gonna talk, kind of update on a little bit of what's going on after the flooding, and just kind of keep them in our prayers. If you still are wanting to donate, I do have the information up on my last video. Again, I mean, just kind of keep in mind, if you were to lose everything, what would you need? You know what I mean? And no, you're not gonna need no video games or anything like that, but water, bottled water, um, perishable food, non-perishable foods like beans, corn, raviolis, um, things like that, cups of soups, anything that can be shelved for a long time. Um, they're needing clothing of all sizes, um, and I'm sure some of these people may need, school stuff with school coming around. I mean, we're already there. School starts in less than a month. So they really got only 2 or 3 weeks before school starts. So these kids are going to need, you know, supplies. They're going to need clothes. They're going to need haircuts. They're going to need, they need water. They need food. I mean, basic necessity of life, is what they're needing right now. So please, if y'all can, please go to your local, either Goodwill or local agency, and see how you can help out. There's a bunch of organizations in the local area, in Kerr County and things like that. So definitely want to reach out to them if you're local. Um, there's just so much. If you are in Texas, I'm sure I haven't been into. Again, I do all my shopping online. I haven't gone into HEB, but I'm sure they're taking donations. They do it every year for Feeding America. I'm sure they're going to be doing it for the flooding, where they're going to have those red, big old trash tubs, and where you can drop in supplies, food. I mean, they do it year round. So I'm sure, if you're locally in Texas, it's a lot easier to donate. If you're in another state or another city, and you want to donate, go to your local Goodwill, and they will definitely arrange for your items to be sent to the proper to the proper chain over here down in Texas. So let's go ahead and show this. I kind of want to show this real quick. Sorry, guys. Wrong one. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So, okay, it's up. Okay, just making sure I had the right one up. I'm just going to mute it while the commercial plays. All right, guys, it's a long commercial. Ooh. Okay.
In the dead of night, flood waters crept into a family's hill country home just steps away from the Guadalupe River. They escaped with their lives and found something powerful in the wreckage, a prayer journal, a reminder to hold on to faith. KENS 5 Simone Simpson has their story of survival.
By the time 83-year-old Penny Dupree realized how much rain covered the area in Hunt, she realized water was rushing into her home. The family of 9 got resourceful, using anything they could find to make a hole in the sleeping loft. Dupree says a neighbor told her they could hear the family banging on the walls. That's when Dupree's son pulled out a pocket knife to make the hole larger, in hopes of getting all 9 family members out, including Dupree.
They got the babies out first and mamas together. And when it was my turn, I had a little trouble fitting in this extremely small, but one boy pulled and one boy pushed. So I was able to get out.
The family says they waited on their roof for an hour and a half until the floodwaters receded, singing hymns like, "Jesus loves me, this I know." When the floodwaters washed away, they found a prayer journal, a physical reminder to keep their faith. Reporting from Ingram, Simone Simpson, KENS 5.
So again, it was a very it was rough. There was a lot of things that were going on. I did find another one where he was talking about looting. Like, it was so sad. Let me see if I can find it. I don't remember where I saw it at. And I probably saved it. I just don't remember where I saw it at. But if it was Facebook, I think it was Facebook. Let me see. But it was a man who was talking about an older gentleman, in his 60s, 70s. And his house pretty much crashed into his neighbor's house. His house is basically destroyed. There's really nothing there left. And then imagine that you're there and, you know, you already lost your wife, you lost your house. And so you're kind of stuck in this position, and then to come to find out that the little bit that you do have, people come and then take it from you. So there were lootings at when it like after these floods, like just people driving up and taking people's stuff. Really disrespectful. It's very sad to hear that they're doing. Let me see if I can pull up the video. Looters, Texas flooding. I think it's property owners. And it was so sad. No, it wasn't that one. Let me see. Commercials. What are you gonna do?
are blending in with people who are actually just trying to help and volunteer. It's unclear if authorities have arrested anyone for looting, but officials in Kerr County are warning locals about scammers who pose as contractors and companies that may price gouge. This Kerrville resident expressing his frustration with the criminals. Take a listen.
It makes me angry that people would come and think they have the right to steal what people have left.
Officials are warning people living nearby to stay vigilant and be wary of a stranger offering to help clear debris or get an estimate on a property. The death toll from the Texas flooding has risen tonight to 128, with at least 150 still missing. That's according to local officials in Central Texas. President Trump and First Lady Melania visited the...
Okay, there you go. Yes, President Trump came down. But yes, as you can tell, 128 was the count. Remember, I said it was the last time I saw was around 125, 130. So I wasn't pretty off. So it's at 128 with 150 still missing. So again, this is tragic. It's just a travesty here, and it's tragic. And these people again, they are still needing stuff. And this is so sad that people take advantage of situations like this when people are down. It's just like, oh, well, like, let's just kick them while they're down. Like, no, like, that's just the evil in this world. We really got to keep a lookout and do the right thing, guys. Hopefully, everybody here just kind of doesn't do that. Please, I hope nobody does that. But if you're wanting to help, please go. If you're local in the area, there's plenty of local charities in the Kerrville, Ingram, and all that area. Plenty of donation sites. I think there's still. I think the school is. I think still one of those sites, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely, if you can't get to, or if it's a little far of a travel for you to go down there, definitely go to your local Goodwill and drop off any kind of items that you're wanting to donate. Again, they are needing all sorts of stuff, and it wasn't just adults that are affected; children are affected. So diapers, wipes, baby formula, um, food, canned foods, clothing. Pretty soon they're going to need school supplies. School's going to start here in about 2-3 weeks. So definitely reach out to your local agency and see how you can help. Again, there's a list on my other video about the flooding, and there's a big old list of items that it will give you an idea of the items that they are needing, and definitely you're more than welcome to send it. Again, if not, just keep them in your prayers. There's lots of families that are being affected by this, all within a general area, and everybody pretty much kind of knew everybody. And if you're the next door county, you at least knew a couple of people, so it's devastating. And again, these not all campers at this campsite were local. You gotta remember, they have um, camp leaders that or instructors that come from all over, Texas and things like that. These are kids that are trying to better their lives and improve. Have all these extracurricular activities, volunteer. Help out the kids. In the camp area. So again, we need to return the kindness that these people had and that had lost their lives in this flood, and respect their families, and please donate and keep them in the prayers. So okay, so and again, don't forget there is a flood watch again here in Bear County. There's been a flood watch in Kerrville. There's been a flood watch in all these counties again, all within 60-mile radius of us, or of me, should I say. So just keep a lookout, stay safe. Please be aware and listen to the warnings. Turn around, don't drown, all those things. Definitely don't want to get caught up in that storm. Go to high grounds if you're able to, but please do not be traveling on the roads. Stay put and get to the highest point get to the highest ground point where you're at. Okay. So the next thing that was brought you know was brought up that somebody wanted people wanted me to talk about was the Ken Paxton divorce. So again, the Ken Paxton divorce actually um was put on was actually, what do you call it, before what did they call it? Now I'm gonna have to look it up because now I'm like looking for the word. What do they call, where they make it hushed and nobody can, it's a closed case basically, like a closed, what is Ken Paxton divorce. Why am I missing the word? Why am I having trouble with this stupid word? Seals. It was sealed. The court seals the records. Okay. I don't know why I was struggling with that. Hey, Rainbow. Yes, the court can Angela did file that. Let me go ahead and show you. This is what started the whole thing, and I'm pretty sure she's the one that, obviously she's the one that put it out, so that it's not a false thing. Let me go ahead and share this tab first. She put it on X, stating that after 38 years of marriage, she's finally going to file for divorce. Um, Obviously, the whole issue with his impeachment and his infidelity and things like that, she stuck by his side, you know, after all that. And I'm not sure she has further proof or further what type of information she has for since then until now for her to feel like infidelity is a big part of her marriage that probably um, wasn't probably was there throughout the whole marriage. And she basically divorces him for that reason, due to it's more, she words it as biblical, differences, not irreconcilable differences or anything like that. She says there were biblical differences. So obviously his infidelity, if must be true. So in order for her to divorce him over that. So she states, today, after 38 years of marriage, I filed for divorce on biblical grounds. I believe marriage is a sacred covenant and I have earnestly pursued reconciliation. So that means she's tried everything she can, whether it's therapy, um, having date nights, little things like that that are able to make a marriage better, or, to, basically improve the marriage. Um, but apparently none of it was working. So, but in light of the recent discoveries, so again, I think maybe she may have found that the infidelity was true in nature. I do not believe that it honors God or is loving to myself, my children, or kin to remain in the marriage. I move forward with complete confidence that God is always working everything together for the good of those who love Him and who are called according to His purpose. So, again, it's biblical. It's mainly to do with the infidelity. I mean, I don't know what else he's doing. I mean, unless he's part of this whole, minor situation, little people and things like that. I mean, who knows? But by her words, there were just put biblical grounds, and more than likely, it's just his infidelity. It's unfortunately some people can't handle that or control that urge. So let me go back to this page where we're at earlier. It says divorce between Ken and Angela Paxton will proceed outside public view. Again, I'm not gonna have it read it. It says, okay, a Collin County judges reported, which is funny. Collin County, isn't that where the whole other case is taken care of? Being with the Carmelo Anthony, isn't that in Collin County as well, or is that Colleen County? I don't think it's Collin County. So judges reported decision could keep details of the divorce from spilling into Ken Paxton's U.S. Senate race. So that's another thing that's why they want to keep it hush hush. They want to seal whatever documents are there because of the, of course, political issues. As always, that's yeah. See, we're going Kiki Eyes. Welcome. That's Rainbow Tasha. That's kind of where I was going with that, but I wasn't gonna say it like that. But yes, let's dish day. Yes, it definitely is. So, again, I think they sealed it for a reason, political, and I think yeah. But that's my opinion. Again, we don't have all the things. She did say biblical, and I'm going since his whole impeachment back in what was it 2023 had to deal with the whole infidelity thing. So yes, so I it just rubs me the wrong way, but again, I'm just gonna report what I can report and leave my opinion. I shouldn't say leave my opinions out of it, but my suspicions, should I say? Um, so why is this not coming? Okay. So again, let's see. So a state district judge in Collin County agreed Friday to seal all records relating to divorce proceedings between Attorney General Ken Paxton and Senator Angela Paxton, according to reports by the Dallas Morning News and New York Times. That will likely keep details of the high profile divorce from becoming public as Ken Paxton runs to unseat U.S. Senator John Cornyn in the next year's Republican primary. That race is expected to be one of the most watched 2026 Senate race. Again, yes, definitely suspicious timing. Definitely. I and then he's running for he's they want him to take this senator's chair for whatever reason, and he somebody's putting him in a higher position. Somebody wants him in a higher position. It's just who. And his infidelity doesn't add up. You're in yeah, it's just a lot of, you know, wa- lines everywhere, the little web, the little circle web. So Angela Paxton requested the proceedings to be sealed according to the news outlets. The order to seal this case was not immediately available Saturday. It was granted one day after Angela Paxton filed to divorce her longtime husband. In Texas, divorce cases are generally public record but can be sealed if it includes highly sensitive information. Well, what's so highly sensitive? Like he cheated, you want to separate, like go about your business. But I don't get how much more difficult it can get. I mean, I'm not in politicals. I'm not a politician, so and I don't do the whole dirty. I'm just like, you go your way, I go mine. Leave me alone. We no longer have anything in common. You did wrong to me. We're gone. Peace out. Deuces. Good luck. But if it doesn't work out, you know, sorry. Good luck. Kind of thing. But what in the world? What sensitive information? We already know, or the infidelity already got brought up and things like that. So what else is there that is so sensitive that the public doesn't need to know? I don't know. I don't know. On social media, Angela Paxton cited recent discoveries for the split and said the decision was made on biblical grounds. Again, could it be just the infidelity or could it be the infidelity plus some extra acts on top of that? I mean, because that's not biblical either, but that's to the extreme. So we're just going to stick with infidelity and see where this case goes because unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is going to be sealed and We're never probably going to be able to hear about it until they make it a whole thing like this Epstein thing. So it's going to be crazy. Neither of the Paxtons could immediately be reached for comment Saturday. Before the case was sealed, records obtained by the Texas Tribune showed that the couple had not lived together for more than a year, and Angela Paxton had accused her husband of adultery. Accusations of adultery were prominent in Ken Paxton's impeachment in 2023. Former aides in his office accused him of having an extramarital affair with a former Senate aide. The Texas House impeached the Attorney General, suspending him from his position for a litany of allegations, including corruption and bribery. The Senate later acquitted him. Republicans hold majorities of both chambers. Angela Paxton was present during the impeachment trial, but rules prevented her from casting a vote in its outcome, obviously. The woman with whom Ken Paxton was accused of having an affair was called to testify before the Senate, but left without speaking. That's kind of weird. Like, she didn't have nothing to say. She had planned to refuse to answer questions and assert her right against self incrimination. Okay, so it was true. Okay. So, and so, like, the Texas Tribune reported at the time Paxton is in his 10th year of serving as the state's attorney general. Throughout his term, Paxton has dodged an influx of legal troubles and personal scandals, from the 9-year securities fraud case against him that was dropped last year to a federal investigation into bribery and corruption allegations, which were also dropped. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna say it now, Rainbow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's more. There's definitely separated for more than a year. Yes, I think there's more to this adultery business. There's just he's too dirty. He's too dirty. Mm-mm. Yep, and took the fifth. I mean, which I don't know why people take the fifth, even though it's supposed to protect your right for not being incriminated in anything else. But I always think that that's another form of incrimination because, I mean, just admit what you did and get on with it, and talk to God and call for peace and move on with your life. But okay, throughout it all, Angela Paxton had publicly supported him and stated their near 4-decade marriage until now. In his own statement Thursday, Ken Paxton attributed the struggles in his marriage to the countless political attacks and public scrutiny that he has faced. Oh, please. Maybe if you would keep your pee out of the public, the public wouldn't be in yours, right? Um, Yeah, something doesn't feel right. I really think, and then for them to like to seal this case like from the get-go. I mean, if this was only about adultery and infidelity, there should be no reason why this cannot be brought to the forefront, to the public, to people's televisions and computer screens. Why are they sealing this? I get it, they're high profiled, whatever, but if you're just divorcing somebody over adultery, this more than likely you would have been able to go through this divorce. I mean, and then again, sounding by the way Ken Paxton is, he may not have made it easy. So maybe she just didn't want none of her dirt to come out. So I mean, senators and politicians, they're always going to have something. And whether it's a they're out in public hugging 10,000 people, you know what I mean? There's going to be that, oh, we're going to use this picture because you're hugging one person out of 10,000 people you hugged that day, and use it against them for some type of agenda or motivation or things like that. So I completely get kind of where she's coming from, but at the same time, I'm like, no, it almost makes it look more so. And th- and at the same time, I don't know. I think she did it mainly for to cover herself, not to cover whatever she did or whatever, but to protect her identity and her family in this situation. I really don't think she wanted to seal these records to not put him in the spotlight. You know what I mean? I'm sure. And then at the same time, she could just want to divorce and leave and be like, okay, you did what you did, just leave me alone. But at the same time, I don't think that's correct either. You're a senator. I think you should fight for what's right. If there's more to this divorce than adultery and infidelity. So, by the sounds of it, it doesn't look like we're gonna get much information after what yesterday. So, um, we're probably gonna have to do some really good research, or I'm hoping maybe Angela Paxton could respond, or comment every now and then on Twitter to like what's going on in the case, and I'm sure she won't be able to because it could always hurt her case at the same time and things like that. So this is gonna be an interesting one. Again, I don't get good feelings about this. I really don't. So it's gonna be another one, and so it came out Friday. It literally came out Thursday, Friday, saying she was gonna divorce him, and the next day, the the case was sealed. So, um, yeah, it's gonna be this one's gonna be another interesting one that's happening in Collin County. What was that? I thought that was my phone. My son, he's playing wild crats right now. And apparently, they're a duck. Okay, so okay. So now we kind of that's all on this Ken Paxton. Again, um, I'm getting a really bad feeling about this, but again, if she's divorcing him because of this, it's a good thing. You don't need to be with somebody who cheats, who does anything who is not honest and trustworthy of your time and energy. Definitely get rid of them. So that's just horrible. And then to know that she stayed and she was trying to work it out. I mean, like, what an ass. Like, yeah, you hopefully you get what you deserve. Hopefully she takes all your money. Forget this 50-50. Give her 60 or 70 of that, of that 100. No 50-50. She needs 70-30. Because having to deal with that, and then then you're a politician on top of all that. So I'm sure um that little last line you were saying, "Oh, it was the public that made it," and all these, and the lies and the whatever you want to say happened. It. She dealt with that. Plus, if it was true, with the actual act itself. So you put her through some. You put her through some. Yeah. Just gonna leave it like that. So let's get into these babies. I kind of been, doing my job, working on the abuse and getting some more information and figuring out what is going on with Texas. Why are we taking out our own babies? Like, I don't understand. Like, how can you hurt your own child? Let's just kind of go. This was I'm gonna start off with the first story. It was one of the most recent ones, and again, it's not. I don't think it's the parents, but it does raise a question on what happened during that little time that this baby was home. It- she was a 4-month old and completely lost her life. So let me see. I have all these right here. I have all these tabs open. I literally have like 10 tabs open, and they're all different stories of babies. Like, it is horrific. Horrific. But this one is the most recent one. And this one is San Antonio mother seeks answers after 4-month-old daughter's death. Police investigation continues. So far, um, and this has happened for a little, like 3 or 4 weeks. It's already been a month, and they still haven't named anybody or anything, but they're still investigating. So we're gonna go ahead and watch the video.
Just a tragic case here. More than a week after a 4-month-old baby girl died, investigators with San Antonio police are trying to find out what or even who caused the injuries that led to that baby girl's death.
Yeah, today her mother speaking publicly for the very first time to Erica Hernandez about her heartbreak and how she's fighting to get answers and fighting to keep her family together.
Just trying to be strong for my other children.
Jasmine Gonzalez Martinez says her life changed in a matter of weeks. Her 4-month-old daughter, Mia, died in June. Mia was born prematurely in February and spent those first 4 months in the NICU, along with her twin sister. Mia was released from the hospital at the end of May. A week later, she returned with a serious injury, one doctors ruled was not accidental.
They did an MRI and they told me that she had a subdural hematoma on the left side of her brain.
Jasmine says on June 4th, she left her baby with the caregiver. When she left to run errands, Jasmine says Mia was fine. She says when she returned home, Mia was sleeping. It wasn't until Jasmine held Mia that she noticed something wasn't right.
And I was trying to get her to wake up and open her eyes, but she wouldn't open her eyes.
Jasmine took Mia to the hospital where she would stay for 2.5 weeks fighting that brain injury until she was taken off life support. Mia died June 21st. Since then, Jasmine's world has been turned upside down. Her 3 other kids were taken by Child Protective Services, and she's currently only allowed supervised visitation. Jasmine says she fears for her family's future and is fighting to get her kids back.
I'm a good mom. I do everything that I can for my kids.
Now, SAPD is still investigating this case, but no arrests have been made. It's because of that we are not naming the caregiver, but court records we obtained do detail that that person does have a prior conviction for injury to a child. We have reached out, but have not heard back from them. This is an ongoing story we will continue to follow and update when new information is available. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Sorry, guys, I have my thing muted. But obviously, what was I saying? The 4-month-old baby, like we as parents need to be alert on who we leave our kids with. Obviously, they didn't state if the other kids were in this person's care as well at the same time, and and yeah, I figured that out. When I didn't hear myself, that's why I always have it playing in the background on my phone because I do some crazy like that. Forget to turn my mic back on. But but yes, this again, we need to be alert on who we leave our kids with. Again, they didn't say if it was a family member, a friend, a daycare. But if it was a daycare, I'm sure we would have been alerted by now through the media that it was a daycare. It sounded like it was a specific person who she either dropped the baby off with, or that person came over to her residence and watched the baby. It, of course, there's not a lot of detail. This is the most detail and information that there is. I believe this was the only channel I saw that had the babysitter information or caregiver information, but we as parents, we need to be do our due diligence, and I know we can't always go to request court records and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes things like that cost money, and as family, it's already costly to to have your child being watched by somebody. Then you need to do a background investigation, and you need to do this, but and ultimately in the end, $10-15 can save your child's life. you know you put your child in harm's way. And that's so sad that she got her other kids taken away over a decision that, ultimately, she could have done, and I get it. You don't think that this could happen. And like I said, they didn't specifically say if that was a friend or a family member or anything like that. So it kind of makes it hard. I shouldn't say to judge, but to put my opinion in. But if it was a family member, like, makes it even worse. One, because it's a family member. You think your family won't harm your baby or anything like that. But if this is a family member that already had a history of doing something like this, and you're aware of it, then yes, you're fully responsible as the parents of this child's death. Now, if this was somebody that you found on Facebook, or you met, there's plenty of different ways now that you can find a sitter. Doesn't mean it's safe. Um, there's certain apps out there, they you have to pay to do backgrounds. So I mean, if those are, I don't know how people can get around that on those types of apps, even after paying and putting in their information. I don't know how, if they can somehow, um yeah. And that's another thing is, um that I was trying to get at. If it was a true accident, like she just, she needed to go to work, she didn't have family members, she can't afford daycare, so the next best thing is to find a babysitter, to find a nanny, or something like that, who can um work with the amount of money you can afford to pay for childcare. I've done babysitting for a long time. Well, I don't do it anymore, but I was actually thinking about doing it for date nights, because literally I don't, besides being on here with you guys, which I love, and reading these sad stories, I need to, the kids give you a whole entire outlook on life. Like, they're my break away from this, guys. Like, so, um yeah. But again, we don't know if she probably found the most cheapest babysitter she could find, or one that was well within her budget. And sometimes you get what you pay for. Like, if somebody's gonna say, "I'll watch your kid for $5 an hour," honey buns, we got a problem. We got a problem. If somebody's, I mean, I can get maybe $10 an hour, because 8 hours a work day, that's $80 a day. Um, can get pretty expensive, but $5 an hour, like, no, when you start dropping down to $2 an hour, I can understand if you were watching them for an entire week. Even at that, $5 an hour still doesn't add up. You don't, I mean, uh, charging somebody $80 a week or $100 a week for a 4-month old is really cheap, and very scary to know that people will leave their kids with somebody like that. Yes, definitely, definitely. You get what you pay for. And unfortunately, our children are our most dearest prized possessions, which means we should be paying our lives for them, and not they should be paying their lives for us to save a couple of bucks. Again, I get times are hard, trust me. With all the kids that I have, this is why one of us always stayed home while the other one worked. Whether I worked and he stayed home, or he works and I stay home. Childcare is off the wazoo. Um, there's not a lot of resources out there to yes. Um and actually I'm kind of glad it even though it's rough, I'm glad that one of us was able to be here for, most I get it when my older kids were younger and I was pretty much by myself as a single parent. I had no choice. But then again, I worked at the daycare my kids went, so while I try to go to school and things like that, I was not good. Yes, I get it. She was in a different class, as she outgrew my class, things like that. But it was a little bit safer knowing that I was there, but not there at the same time. So, again, and then it wasn't just like anybody off the street. It was a daycare, so I knew they had to be some type of license and state regulated. And so, but nowadays, I mean, at least here in Texas, I think the last time I kind of researched daycares, they're at least $180 a week for infants. For infants, I think the cheapest I think I found was like 167, which is one not far from 170. I should say 170, which is still a lot, and that's per week. So if you have two kids, can you imagine paying close to $300 a week for childcare here in Texas when the minimum wage is what, like $12 an hour or $10 an hour? I don't even know what the minimum wage is anymore in here. It's just so ridiculous. I lost track once it turned to $8 an hour. I was just like, this is far beyond crazy. But can you imagine? Yeah, definitely. And that's why I don't get with all these government programs, all this money that is just being tossed left and right to people you know, who don't deserve the money. It should go to people like that. I mean, children are our future, and yet we don't do anything to help them. Just saying. Um, which is why, I think a lot of the instances that kids do nowadays, or a lot of the things that are happening with kids and how they react to certain things, are a big issue. But this was the story. This little 4-month-old baby was such a tragedy. Um, was what I really wanted to know about because I'm still curious about this child. Like, I don't know. This is how what then why go watch a little like why what go even volunteer to watch a baby if one you don't have the patience to watch kids, one you just don't have the love to watch them. Like, why do it? It's not easy money, it's not fast cash. I mean, some people may look at it like that, but it's if you do it correctly, it's not. And if anything, if you were a good babysitter, good nanny, whatever you want to call yourself, you would actually lose money. If you only had one or two kids, you would lose money than make money. I'm gonna let you know that right now. There's been a lot of times where I've helped people out watch their kids, for really, like, I wouldn't go no less than 130 a week unless they were old kids and not old kids, but older kids who were 6, 7 years old and it's summertime. Yeah, I'm not just, they pretty much watch themselves. You just gotta make sure that they don't do anything too extremely crazy, like jump off the sofa, break an arm, and like, but they're old enough to entertain themselves, play Red Rover, jump rope, hula hoop, normal kid things. But yeah, it's hard. You would lose money if you do it right because you still got to teach them, you still got to feed them, you still got to do what normal parents do for their own kids, like at a very low rate or an affordable rate for it to help out these parents. So again, and most of the time, I mean, obviously one of us works, so we do get, government assistance with certain things. So if I'm going to be watching somebody's kid, I'm not going to make their parents bring food. They're going to eat with my family just as if they were part of my family. So unfortunately, like daycares and things like that, they're in it for the money. They're not in it for care. That's why there's a lot of incidents that happen at daycares. I think you find more stories about things that happen at licensed and registered facilities than you do with a babysitter or a nanny or something in that in that way. And actually a nanny is a lot better because they come to your house. You can have cameras set up. You can have, it's your rules. It's your, like, if they don't feel comfortable with cameras, you don't have to hire them. Like, I feel like sometimes nannies are and au pair, what do you call them? Those au pairs are a little bit more reliable and more trustworthy because those are people who actually, I should say volunteer, but do it because they love kids. They don't do it because it's another job for them. It gets them another paycheck. You know what I mean? So, because trust me, being a nanny and a babysitter for a couple of kids, it is not for the faint and it's not to make money. I'm gonna let you know that right now. So, anyway, let's go on. I am telling you, I have all these tabs open. So so there was this one not too long ago. This was back in like October, I believe, and a lot of these are going to be recent within the last couple of months to maybe the year the most. But this just kind of gives you a good view on what Texas is like when it comes to these kind of situations. Let's see, okay, it is showing.
Today outside the VA hospital off Merton Minter, a terrible tragedy.
We had 3 young children in the back of a vehicle, ages 3, 2, and 10 or 11 months.
Chief McManus says there was a woman in the car with the children, but the kids got a hold of a long gun anyway.
Pulled the trigger and accidentally shot the 11-month or 10-month-old, and that young child is deceased right now.
Carmelo Vega, a range manager for Lone Star Handgun, says when it comes to gun safety, this is one of the worst scenarios he's ever heard of.
You have to take every measure required to ensure that no one, including young kids, adults, or anyone that is not supposed to have access to that firearm, does not, in fact, get access to the firearm.
Who owns the gun and how it was stored is still not known, but Vega says there are ways to secure guns in a car, such as trigger locks. They prevent the trigger from being pulled.
Having it properly locked in a hard case, obviously away from children.
We reached out to the San Antonio Police Department to find out if the woman in the car will be charged, but they didn't get back to us yet. When we find out, we'll let you know. Reporting in studio, Phil Sterling, Fox SA.
But also tonight, we should tell you 3 people.
Okay, so again, careless acts. Yes, that they just keep coming. They just keep coming, don't they? But these things do happen, and it's careless. Like, how do you just leave a gun in the car? Like, and then the other part, I can't technically, according to this video, I can't just accuse the other person in the car for not watching these kids. Because what if she didn't even know there was a firearm in the vehicle? You know what I mean? Like, so again, I'm not gonna follow up on all these stories. I just want to put all these stories out there because this is a constant thing that's happening to our kids. We're just not being vigilant. We're not paying attention to detail. We just think it just won't happen to us. And again, when it comes to these types of issues, like weapons and things like that, and bear arms and all these rights that we have as Americans, um, we we really need to keep them safe and protected. Like, these are privileges that they give us. Like, they don't they could take away these these privileges. Like, it's just it's and then I again it's hard. There should have been a lock. Yes, there definitely should have been a lock. It should have been locked away in a container, and if not, it should have been on that person. Like, why is this person not having it on themselves? Like, why isn't it locked away in the glove compartment? Why is it in the back seat with these kids? Was it in the back seat with these kids? There is a lot of things, and I'm not sure this person was trained or was supposed to have this gun. But again, we just need to be diligent and save our kids. Definitely. Um, leaving kids in cars, leaving guns around kids, leaving things like that. Yeah, I did say it, but leaving weapons around and things like that is just it. I'm trying to find the word for it. It's irresponsible and ignorant. That's the word. It's ignorant. Irresponsible and ignorant. Yep. And it is. It's a big old storm of events of disaster. Like it really is. And then this one's a little tougher one, but again, I see the point. I see the point. I think people with medical conditions should not be driving if it's going to affect their driving. Anybody that's going to have a heart attack, anybody that can have a stroke, anybody that can have a seizure, anybody that can, I don't think they should have the ability, or I should say the ability, they should have that privilege to drive. Uh, Again, it's not at their own fault for having these medical conditions because sometimes medical conditions, you just either one are born with them or they happen for a reason. Either you're truly sick or you were truly beaten or you were to an extent to where you lose your memory, you lose it. So there's other reasons why people have these types of medical issues. I'm not just saying it's bad to have these medical issues. I'm just saying as far as being able to drive, I don't really think they should. But let's get into the story and we'll I think this one we're just going to listen to because unfortunately, San Antonio Express News, my essay just doesn't want to give us any type of thing unless we go on YouTube and watch it. But just kind of, it's real quick. It's a 2-minute reading of the article, and we'll kind of follow the article along with the.
BCSO, child dies after medical episode at San Antonio school. Written by Candace Avila Garcia. This article is being read by an automated voice generated by Everlit. Investigators are looking into a child's death after she was found unconscious inside a restroom at San Antonio school. The incident happened Friday, June 6th at Excelled Montessori School in Bernie, 30 miles northwest of San Antonio on Interstate 10. According to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, the 6-year-old girl went to use the restroom, and after a few minutes, a school staff member went to check on her when they discovered her unconscious. The school quickly called 911, and first responders worked to perform life-saving measures. She was transported to University Hospital, where Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar said she later died. It's unclear what led to her death, but officials say it appears she had underlying health conditions that may have contributed. Investigators are not ruling out foul play, but they say they do not suspect it in this case. According to Sheriff Salazar, the school has notified parents about the incident and deputies will remain on campus for the next several hours. We understand that parents are going to be concerned, especially in light of previous events at this school. But I just want to make it clear that all of the kids are safe and accounted for. The affected child's parents have already been notified. So if you have not received notification, your child is okay. Take your time coming to the school to pick them up, he said. Just last December, a deadly incident claimed the lives of a teacher and toddler after a driver suffered a medical episode following a Christmas program at the school. A month after their death, the families of 22-year-old Alexei Rosales and 1-year-old Micaiah Amrani filed a $1 million lawsuit against the driver, who documents identify as Valerie L. Haas, and the school Excelled Montessori Preschool, LLC. The lawsuit claims Haas was negligent for driving with a medical condition. The lawsuit also alleges that Excelled Montessori Preschool was negligent in ensuring adequate safety measures for the children. 4 other students were also hurt in the crash.
Okay. So yes, and I get it. The crash was a separate incident from the story with about the girl being in the restroom. But again, if she had a medical condition, what in the world is she doing going to the restroom by herself? So, like, I get it. We as people, once we get to a certain age, we require some type of privacy in the restroom. Get it. But this child, like, you could close the stall, but be on the outside of the stall. Make sure you can see their feet, or if it's a closed door stall, a single person where one person walks in, closes the door, sorry, mama, don't we can't lock it, but just close it that way. I can continuously check on you. I get it. This child did have the right to some type of privacy in the restroom, but if this person had a medical condition that needed to be watched, she needed to be watched. Yeah. Again, another sad story where they just, you know, um, they're just not being diligent. They're not. They're not treating these kids like if they were their own. If your child had some kind of condition, like you would expect the caregiver to, one, take them to the restroom, watch them, make sure they're safe, they get back, they come out. Like you would make sure these things would be happening as their parent. But since you're not their parent, you're just a glorified babysitter in this case. That's what I call them now. I'm just like, you might as well just say you're a nanny, daycare teacher, whatever. You're a glorified babysitter. That's all you are. Because half the time, I don't know. I'm not okay. I shouldn't knock daycares because I did forget some. Some of them are really good, and some of them just are in it for the money. So again, just like everything else. Again, another sad story. Um, we'll just keep on moving. Another infant death on the rise in Bexar County due to this one's about unslaved slave practices. Again, falls on the parent. A lot of these stories falls on the parent on not being diligent, not being responsible, being, like I say, ignorant, being, all these things. Like we're not protecting our babies. We're not.
For the News 4i team.
To heal answers. So what's behind this increase and what can parents do to protect their little ones? The News 4i team's Jordan Elder spent weeks looking for answers.
When you lose an infant, many people grieve in different ways.
Former state senator Leticia Vandepew knows this pain personally. Her grandson Rex died of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, in May of 2013. He was just 5 months old.
One way for our family to heal was to do something positive.
For 6 years, her family organized a walk in Rex's honor, raising awareness and resources for families facing similar heartbreak. Rex was a true SIDS death, meaning it's still unclear what caused it.
We really wanted to do what was immediate, which was get information out there and get cribs out there, a safe place for baby to sleep.
A message that's especially important today.
In San Antonio, we saw the number pretty much double in the last 7-8 years.
The majority from co-sleeping. Dr. Robert Stewart is often one of the first to examine infants brought into the emergency department at Christus Children's Hospital. Each child is an experience that stays with him forever.
In 2017, we saw about 14 deaths from co-sleeping. In 2022, that number increased to 28. And in 2024, by October, we were already up to 32 deaths.
Stewart says there are several factors in why these deaths are rising, including less education and more misinformation online.
And now you have the all-powerful, almighty social media that's thrown in there, and now that message is not so clear.
We do the best that we can to try to combat that.
Dr. Natalie Kassoon is an associate professor at UT Health San Antonio and a member of the state's Child Fatality Review Team. She says reinforcing safe sleep guidelines is critical on social platforms.
Very difficult, and sometimes it feels like a losing game, but we're not going to stop. We're going to keep promoting the things that we know keep children safe and healthy.
You can remember through ABC. The baby should be alone, no pillows, blankets, or other people, on their backs to help them breathe, in a crib or something similar on a flat surface.
By following these recommendations, you're giving your child the best opportunity to have a happy, healthy life.
From crib safety to social media education, experts say the message needs to be louder and clearer to save lives.
It can happen to anybody, rich, poor, middle income. Unfortunately, crib death is not discriminatory.
For our community, is that one baby is too much, and if we could save that one baby, it would be all worth it.
For the News 4 team, I'm Jordan Elder.
So again, it's important. It's important that we follow, some of these protocols. I get it. That's what used to irritate me a lot about my husband sometimes because he was all about like it's hot in here and or it's cold, so he would go adjust the temperature. I'm like, no, you don't adjust the temperature. You either go put clothes on or you take clothes off because I don't have the temperature set for you. I have the temperature set for my baby. I'm sorry. And I know if I'm cold, my baby's cold, and if I'm hot, my baby's hot. So you're not touching it, kind of thing. So, oh yeah, that was a big deal back and forth between me and him. It was always an issue with the little ones because I would you adjust the baby comfortably and then you adjust the air accordingly. Or I mean, because then you're gonna have to change the baby every here at least in Texas, you change them every 10 to 15 minutes because it's gonna get hot, cold, windy, rain, and shine all in, within the hour. So you adjust the baby either warm or cold, like either in a pajama pants or in some shorts and a cute outfit. Either way, if you set the temperature to a very and this is for people who have, those central ACs and heat and things like that. Now, if you have a window unit, I know it's a little harder, but or if you don't have any kind of AC like that, you just you're old school and you just have big box fans. Like either way, then you definitely don't want to put your baby in long sleeves. I'm just letting you know that. At least not here in Texas. But if you do have central air and you do have the control, basically to the control to for the air comfortability, um, definitely leave it at a reasonable 73, between 73 and 75. And then, as the sun comes up and comes down, obviously your place is going to, the house will get either hot or cold. And then that's when you adjust accordingly. Blankets, my kids really, at least my babies, they really don't even use blankets. Again, I keep the house temperature to them, not to my liking, because then I'm old enough to know, like, hey, I'm cold. Let me go put on my robe or a long sleeve or some warm pajamas or something. And if I'm hot, I'm old enough and I'm obviously capable of going to change into some shorts and a tank top and adjust accordingly. Like it's not the other way around. Your baby shouldn't adjust to you. You should adjust to your baby. Simple as that. And these cases are sad too. And then sometimes SIDS is has nothing to do with basically parental discrepancies like that. Those are just preventative measures. That way you can avoid something from happening. But sometimes you could do everything right and your baby still can pass due to SIDS. Sudden infant death syndrome um, is something that babies can pass away from, and the doctors won't have any clue on why. I mean, the heart's fine, blood is fine, everything could be fine, and yet you still have this poor innocent baby who lost their life. So again, yes, please do take all the steps, but again, SIDS is a very, very, very dangerous. I would only almost it's almost like a quiet death because it's like nobody knows the cause of SIDS. Now obviously if there was a pillow and obviously that's more of a suffocation or kind of thing, and that's not even going to fall into SIDS because SIDS is sudden. It's supposed to be suddenly and instant, and there's no reason or rhyme behind it. So those are just tips to make sure that your baby is safe inside the crib. But to be alert of SIDS, you definitely want to. You don't need to be a paranoid parent, but you do need to be a watchful parent. Just saying, a pay attention to detail parent. Um, so we're gonna go get deeper into these cases. Some of them are trigger warning. They are going to be triggered. So please, just a heads up now, they do get a little worse. And this one, fire parents charged in death of 2-month-old child.
Hi, I'm Dale Johnson here with some big news for all of your roofing and waterproofing needs. DLJ Commercial Roofing is now a part of Chamberlain Roofing and Waterproofing. With Chamberlain's 125 years of experience, we offer expanded services and valued warranties. Visit us at chamberlainltd.com.
Now at noon, new details behind the capital murder charges against a couple from Far. Within the last hour, we've learned the victim is their 2-month-old baby. Karina Ramirez and Miguel Ortiz Jr. faced a judge late last night. Police say they found the baby over the weekend while responding to a wellness check. We're working to find out how the baby died. Ramirez is being held on a $3 million bond. Ortiz's bond is set at more than $5 million.
Sorry, almost forgot that I was on mute again. Yeah, this is just sad. Like, I don't know. I could just look at him and know he's not the nicest person. But again, I shouldn't be judging. And the investigation is still underway. So this another one is a sad story. Again, this is a 2-month-old baby. Like, what in the world did this 2-month-old baby really do? Besides probably cry your ear off. I don't. So yeah, he just looks evil. Like, this is just pure evil right here. And that's not including it was a couple and not just him. Sorry, my baby's just cracked me up. Like, oh my god, my little one just powers over his older brother. Okay. Um anyway, so again, we need to take care of our babies. Why? Like, this was a 2-month-old baby. Like, what did this baby really do? Really, what did this baby really do? And this next story is actually a sad one. I think I'm gonna wait to the very end for. I think I'm gonna wait after. Let's see. This was a sad one too. I don't even know. Okay, we could do this one. This one is sad, but it makes me angry, so I'm okay. I'm not gonna cry. Okay. This one, South Texas mom charged after infant that died tests positive for white powder. Okay? I'm sure we all got that. I'm really trying to watch my language here on YouTube. I gotta get in the practice of minding rules and regulations here, guys. So,
The infant died while she was allegedly.
Okay, so this one's also going to be a red one, and we'll kind of go through the articles. Then after this one, it should just maybe be one more like this, but the rest of them are videos and are traumatic, very traumatic. Okay.
Written by Dina Arevalo. This article is being read by an automated voice generated by Everlet. A South Texas woman is facing charges of criminally negligent homicide and child endangerment after her 2-month-old infant died while she was allegedly passed out from a drug-filled binge. A toxicology report conducted after the baby's death indicated she had cocaine in her system, according to several probable cause affidavits obtained by MySSA. Viridiana Nieto, 23 of Edinburgh, allegedly passed out while high on cocaine, Xanax, and cannabinoids when her infant baby girl died lying next to her inside their North Edinburgh apartment on Monday, February 10th of this year, according to the court documents. Though the infant died in February, Nieto was not arrested until Thursday, May 15th, according to Hidalgo County jail records. She remains in custody pending $1,532,500 in total bonds for the homicide and child endangerment charges, as well as 2 drug possession charges. Part of the reason for the delay was because Nieto had been temporarily hospitalized for suicidal ideations, according to court records. The infant's death was discovered when one of Nieto's friends, concerned that Nieto had stopped answering calls, decided to check up on the mother of 3 and found the baby, purple in the face, lying face down next to her, the court doc said. Nieto's 2 other children, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, were found unharmed. Nieto's friends began to suspect something was wrong as early as February 9th, the affidavits read. In phone calls, Nieto allegedly told her friend, a woman, that she had just returned to the Rio Grande Valley from the Houston area and asked the woman to come over to do drugs. The woman stated it sounded like Viridiana was under the influence due to her slow speech and trouble talking. The woman stated Viridiana kept calling her throughout the day Sunday to go over and party with her, that she had bars, cocaine, and marijuana. An affidavit reads, bars refers to Xanax pills. The woman and her mother decided to check in on her after Nieto failed to answer repeated phone calls. That's when they found the 2-month-old infant face down on the bed next to Nieto and dialed 911. Police performed CPR on the infant until paramedics arrived to transport her to Edinburgh Children's Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Her small body showed no signs of trauma or other injuries, but, like her mother, the infant later tested positive for cocaine, the affidavits read. At the hospital, an officer who had accompanied the baby to the hospital overheard Nieto's sister discussing Nieto's history of drug use. Even if she was doing drugs, it's not her fault, the officer heard, according to the affidavit. Nieto allegedly told police conflicting stories about what she had been doing at the time her infant died, when she had returned to Houston, and her alleged drug use. At first saying she hadn't done drugs in years. Nieto told investigators she put the infant to bed next to her at 3 a.m. on February 10th. Before going to sleep herself around 6 a.m., the next thing she remembered was being woken up by her friend when the woman arrived for a welfare check at 6 p.m. Nieto also allegedly told police she had been trying to get crystal meth to stay awake, but she was unable to get any, the affidavit reads. Police found images on Nieto's phone of what appeared to be a baggie of cocaine, 2 vape pens, and an image of what appears to be a crystal-like substance, possibly crystal methamphetamine, the affidavit reads. The friend later told police that Nieto told her she left a small baggie of cocaine open on the floor in her bedroom. Police body camera footage allegedly shows Nieto holding a white object in her left hand while she was gathering her belongings. Police obtained a warrant after Nieto refused to consent to a search of her home. They recovered marijuana, a vape, and multiple smoking pipes, according to the affidavit, but not cocaine.
Again, that's a sad story. No, don't know if that baby was born with it in his system or was able, or she gave it to him, but for a 2-month-old, I don't think this 2-month-old crawled to this baggie on the floor. You know what I mean? To the stuff on the floor. I'm sure this baby was born with it, and I wouldn't be surprised if was still being introduced to it, through maybe even mama's milk, things like that. So, for this baby to be 2 months and still have things in the system, that just kind of tells me more than likely the mom was probably breastfeeding, had it in her system, continues to feed it to her child. Again, substances are the worst when it comes to things like this. It destroys families. It destroys families. Again, to say that it wasn't her fault or whatever because she was on some kind of substance or whatever like that or anything like that, it's wrong. It's still a mom's responsibility to take care of her baby and to make sure that she doesn't put her baby in harm for the most part. So in my eyes, she would be responsible for her baby's death. Again, doesn't mean that the substances didn't have some type of effect on her, like her brain, her thoughts, her thought processes, her decision making, and things like that. But still, um, it was doing this type of stuff is still a choice. And unfortunately, this person wasn't strong enough to say no. Okay. No, that's there. I don't even know how I got this page up. Okay. Okay. So I am going to go on to the next one. This story, I am totally speechless on because I have 6 kids and I didn't need to do this to make them. Just to let you know. Just to let you know. Just that's you'll understand what I'm saying. You're probably like, what the heck is she saying? Let's listen to the story. Where's the video? Oh, right here.
In May of 2024, grandmother Lisa Farrell remembers getting a frantic call from a friend who said something terrible happened to her granddaughter, Brooklyn Fancher. When she got to the West Side motel where the baby was, she would soon learn the 4-month-old was dead. Today, she told us from her home in Cold Spring that she was relieved to see her own daughter, Destiny Campos, and her former boyfriend, Jeremy Fancher, charged with murder.
I think they should spend the entirety of what her lifespan would have been in prison due to the fact that she's never going to be able to graduate. She's never going to be able to get married. She's never going to be able to have her own kids. They took that life from her, and that's not fair.
Investigators say the parents, Campos and Fancher, often put the little girl, Brooklyn, in a drawer so they can have sex, something discussed in her initial court hearing.
She acknowledged that child was placed inside of this drawer on several different occasions and indicated the reasons why the child was placed there, one of which was to aid in the defendant and the co-defendant to have personal time together.
With her own daughter charged, grandmother Farrell says she only wants justice for Brooklyn and wants Campos to remain in jail.
I don't want to speak to her. I don't have nothing to say to her because when I seen her, she didn't cry. She didn't show no remorse in losing her child. And that bothers me.
Okay. So, yeah. So that was grandma, obviously the mother of the mom of the baby or the grandma of the baby. Must be hard as a parent to know that your daughter took your granddaughter's life and then to have to sit there and say like that your daughter showed no remorse. Like that is great. That is so heartbreaking for that grandma. And she's ultimately right. I mean, it must be hard, but ultimately it's the right decision. Like you just took your child's life. Like I didn't like hello, like you still have yours. Like I didn't take yours. Why would you go take hers kind of thing? Like you think you were any better than that child? Like come on now. Like the baby probably like you put her in a drawer so you can continue to make yourself feel better. Again, I have 6 kids. Did not need to stick my child in a drawer to create them. And even if I wasn't trying to create babies, but still wanted to enjoy the act, I still wouldn't put like my baby still didn't go in a drawer. Like regardless of what the reason is that you wanted to do that, like you don't put your child in a drawer. And then it's a what was it, a 4-month-old baby? A 4-month-old baby. I don't even think she would even know what the heck was going on. You're better off putting her on the floor so you can enjoy yourself than sticking her in a stupid drawer. Come on, guys. Come on. That's And then I like, how old is this dude? Why was she, I don't even know her age. She looks, in her 20s. He looks like he's in his late 30s. Like, but then again, people nowadays they age so fast because we're just so stressed out and whatnot. We're unhealthy. So yes, we don't age as gracefully as they did in the past. We do not last to 100 years old, and 80s and 90s. We last to maybe 60s and 70s. But I, why would you put your child in a drawer? Like, I I I I just can't fabricate that. I wouldn't even be able to come up with a story of something like that, let alone to actually do it. Like, that is crazy. Like, you put her in the drawer and completely cut off her air circulate, like her air. No air to breathe. You put her in her own coffin. You place that baby in a makeshift coffin so and your little, I should say little, your old, ugly looking boyfriend could experience physical joy with each other. Madness. That's what I call madness. Like, that is. Let's see, what was this one? Okay, I had two of them open. I'm just trying to make sure I close out the ones I did so we don't do them again. Okay. Oh, and that one, we did that one already too. Okay. So we are going to go to the next story. I'm trying to figure out which one is not going to make me cry yet. So I don't know. These last three are really hard. Trigger warning, trigger warning. I need to make a trigger warning little thing. Maybe I can do that really quick. Let me put up. Let me do trigger warning really quick. Just so y'all know. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. These last three cases that I'm going to bring up real quick, they are very triggered warning. They are very extreme violence, criminal acts. Well, one is a sad story. It's not necessarily a criminal act. It's just it's a sad ending. But these right here, this one right here, like, they took it old school. They took it to Prince Henry days. Like, they took it to Queen Victoria. They took it to Queen Elizabeth. They took it to King Charles, King William. Yes, all those kings and queens. Like, yes, don't you remember how they used to punish the criminals? Okay, this is down that aisle, down that lane, down that road. So let's see, does this one have a view to go with it? What is this? Oh, they're doing a live right now on the. Okay, it looks pretty sunny over there, so we're not gonna really go. So I guess I'm gonna have to read this article to you guys. I don't see. Let me refresh to see if there. I don't think there was a video to go with this article. I'm sure I could probably find a video to go with the article. But anyway, okay. I guess I'm gonna have to read some of this stuff to you guys. Okay. So, father arrested for alleged murder, decapitation of teenage son. Yes, everybody, you heard me right. Decapitation. This one wasn't here in Texas, but it was just so violent that I needed to, mix it in with all my Texas ones. This is the only one that isn't a Texas related crime and incident. So, but it's still harsh. Again, Columbia Heights, Minnesota. A father was arrested in connection to the alleged murder and decapitation of his 16-year-old son months after the boy was reported missing. According to the criminal complaint obtained by local outlet Croc, the 16-year-old was first reported missing by his mother on May 12th. May 12th. She reportedly told authorities that the teenager lived with his father, 38-year-old Jordan Dupree Collins. What's with this word Collins? Collin County, Collins. Like, I don't know. I'm going to stay away from that name and that word. Okay. The mother told police that she hadn't heard from her son since May 8th at around 4 a.m. when he reacted to one of her text messages, per the complaint. Collins allegedly told the mother that the boy left the house on May 8th to board a bus to visit his grandmother and girlfriend. The mother reportedly learned that the child never made it to his grandparents. Wow. Others, including the victim's girlfriend, confirmed that nothing had been heard from him since May 8th, per the complaint. Officers obtained a search warrant for Collins' house on May 15th and found multiple pieces of evidence suggesting something had occurred in the home. During the search, law enforcement located items with apparent blood staining in garage bags in a living room closet. The complaint read, law enforcement also located several butcher hunting style knives in the apartment's bedroom closet. In the bedroom, law enforcement observed mattress on the floor. A piece of mattress covering was missing on the underside of the mattress. In addition, under the mattress, a piece of carpet and carpet padding was also missing. Neither missing piece were found in the apartments. The Anoka County Sheriff's Department announced on July 1st that the boy's body had been found in a landfill after deputies followed the garbage truck that picked up Collins' garbage. Croc reported that the preliminary autopsy found that the 16-year-old had likely been decapitated. Collins was arrested and charged with murder. Hello, rest in peace. No problem. But yes, again, who in their right mind would do that to their son? Like it seemed like the mother had love for this child, so why was he living with dad? You know what I mean? Or like, how come dad didn't say, "Hey, like you need to go live with your mom. Like I can't deal with you. I can't handle you. You're just too much for me." Whatever the case may have been, like what was in this dad's mentality to decapitate your son? And then you didn't do a good job covering your tracks anyway, but that's beyond the point. And to know that this and the amazing thing is that this kid did have other people that cared for him, his mom, his girlfriend, and things like that. That May 8th and May 12th, those were a couple of what, like 6, 5, 6, 7 days apart from each other when they or the 12th. The last time they spoke with him was 8, 9, 10, 11. So 4 days later. So when they didn't hear from him within 4 days, like they reported it. They didn't wait a month. They didn't try to go do their own investigation. They didn't try to like decapitate. Like this is what you will find in back in the 16th and centuries and 17th centuries, like during, like I said, King Charles, King Williams, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria. Like this is punishment for people who do crimes back in those days. This is not something you do to your child. You just don't do it. You just don't decapitate your son. You just don't do it. Like, again, I don't know if there's like he even looks evil, just like that other guy. He looks evil. He just has that appearance. Like, why would anybody trust this person to have a kid with them? But we as parents, this mom did everything she could. Obviously, there was probably more issues to the story, like behind on why the son was living with the dad, whatnot. But at the same time, she knew something was wrong. She reported it right away, and unfortunately, it didn't have a happy ending. But I'm sure he'll get his payback in court. I mean, in prison. I'm sure. Okay, so I did that one. So the next one, I'll do this one. She makes me cry, but I think I can handle this without crying, guys. I think I can. This one right here, it says San Antonio mom calls for accountability 2 weeks after her son was shot and killed. So let's go ahead and look at this video.
Woo! Hey, son, grab the burgers. The grill is ready.
Sorry, Dad, no burgers in the fridge.
At Tom Thumb, we're here when you need it.
It is unfair that that boy's life was taken for nothing.
It's been 2 long weeks since her son was shot and killed, and investigators still haven't named a suspect.
But 24-year-old Andre Montera died at an apartment complex tonight, as the 19's Avery Everett tells us, his mother calling for answers and accountability.
My son has a 2-month-old brand new baby in this world and a 5-year-old son that are never going to see their dad again.
Tony Brantley can't hold back tears, talking about her son, Andre.
He loved music. He loved to laugh, and he loved his brothers and sisters. He was my baby. He was my baby.
How did you hear about what happened?
Andre was using my car for work, and he didn't show up after his night shift to pick up his nephew.
But 24-year-old Andre Montera never even made it to work that night. He died after being shot and killed outside this apartment complex on Nogolito Street back on April 23rd. His family says he was there to pick up a coworker.
It is unfair that that boy's life was taken for nothing.
2 weeks later, San Antonio police have not publicly named a suspect. The family says they think they know who did it, but so far, SAPD has only told us he's a 22-year-old man. We asked for more details, but a spokesperson for the department said in part, this is still an active investigation in which currently no arrests have been made.
What's your message to the man who did this?
Turn yourself in, because I'm not gonna stop looking. I will knock on doors. I will pass out flyers. To them, my son is just a statistic. And he's not a statistic to me.
Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
The average San Antonio home has over 1,000.
It's so sad. I was almost about to tear up again. But yeah, poor mom. She's right, and I'm pretty sure when it comes to the police department, to the government, whatever, it's just another statistic, another body, another. But what are they playing now? I'm sorry. Let me stop this. Take it off the screen real quick. But yeah, it has to be hard losing a son, especially when you feel like more could be done, and it's such a hard time. And again, it was a careless act. We really need to teach our babies how to value life. We really need to teach our kids value life. It's better to get into a fight than it is to take a life or have someone take your life. Again, life is too precious, and for people to be welcome, get to know, welcome. How's everything going? How's everything going? I know, how's your arm doing? I know I haven't really been able to make my rounds to everybody as you know, I'm trying to continue to network out and spread and spread the word and things like that. But hopefully you're healing fine. Hopefully everything's going well and you're back to spreading the word. But yes, as far as this incident, it's he's not a statistic. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, that's that's what the government sees him as. That's what the police sees him as. That's what lawyers even see him as. Like, just another statistics, another payday. Oh, get to know. We'll talk. We'll talk about it off screen. Um, yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. That we'll fix that. Um, even if it's just a talk, I'll get you out of the funk. Um, but yeah, that is just. And then for it to be 2 weeks, and you feel like the police department hasn't done anything, especially if you have a feeling of who it is. Like again, that doesn't mean that this person did it. But a mother's instinct is never wrong. I'm just gonna say it like that. It really isn't ever wrong. So, and I'm sure they may have taken into consideration, but they got to work. They got to do the law their way and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, it is hard for these parents that lose these babies. Um, for rest in peace and get to know that y'all just kind of came in. The last like 45 minutes or so, I was it was all talk about babies losing their lives here and around Texas, and due to different types of neglect, ignorance, irresponsible parenting, and things like that. So, I mean, from kids being able to get a hold of guns to, you know, in this case, being decapitated. Just these stories have been real horrific, and again, this is why I have the trigger warning up because it's so sad. And this mom, I feel for this mom. The first time I watched it, I cried because you can only feel the pain that she's feeling at that time. So it's so sad. And so let's see. So this is going to be. Let's see. So this is gonna be my last story right here that I'm gonna get ready to share. This one's actually really sad. I did post up the number to the crisis line because of this. Again, another trigger warning. Trigger warning. It's very sad and could have been prevented. Again, we need to start taking accountability and being a little responsible with other people's lives when especially if they entrust in us with it. So let's go ahead. Oh, it started already. Sorry guys, I didn't mean that. Let's go back. Pause. Okay, so let me go ahead and show it on the stream. And this one says Hardburger Park. You can read the rest. Investigation, father-child identified.
More about the man accused.
Family shocked after the deaths of a father and son.
We are learning more about the man accused of killing his 1-year-old son and then himself at Phil Hardburger Park. Tonight, KENS 5 reporter Megan Reina with what family members are revealing.
They shared these photos of the father and son. We're learning the father had moved to the U.S. from Cuba more than 2 years ago. The family member I spoke to did not want to be recorded, but told me he had called them hours before the incident. They say he was in a bad place, and they thought they convinced him to come over to their home, but instead, hours later, they got a phone call about the tragedy.
We're going to have 2 DOA.
It was a horrible discovery. A father and his 1-year-old child found stabbed in a vehicle parked at Phil Hardberger Park. The father, now identified as 34-year-old Daniel Cesar Arjona Soto. His son was named Benjamin. The family says Benjamin was the light of his father's life. But investigators say Wednesday around 8, they got a 911 call that the father was threatening to kill the baby and himself if the family member didn't get to the park fast enough. By the time they got there, they were both dead.
So it's crazy how it can happen.
Jorge Del Monte owns a Cuban pizza shop. He says he's known Arjona Soto for more than a year.
That guy used to work every day. I saw him, he was very happy with the family and everything.
He says the Cuban community is trying to do their best to be there for the family.
Ask for help. Life is first, and we are coming to this beautiful country to get a future, not to take everything.
The family tells me baby Benjamin was outgoing and always calling out for his dad. They say they are thankful for the prayers as they cope with this loss. If you or someone you know is struggling, call 988, the National Suicide Hotline. Reporting in studio, Megan Reina, KENS 5.
Whew. That's a tough one. Okay. So, yeah. If somebody, please, as somebody who works or used to work, depending if I want to go back or not, in the medical fields, yes, I may not have been a nurse, an RN, or anything like that, but I still dealt with patients. So I completely feel for this. You when somebody confides in you that they're thinking about doing something like that, you go to them. You don't have them come to you. You go to them. Um, you keep them on the phone while you go to them. Yeah, it's a tough one. But yeah, it's so sad because not only were you could have saved one life, you could have saved two. So yeah, definitely not good. It's a sad story. Um, if you know anybody who ever decides to do that, please call for help. You contact 911. I mean, I don't understand why this person's family did not do any necessary precaution. I get it. You think it'll never happen to you or your family. Um you think that, like they said, they thought they had talked him off basically they had thought they talked him off the ledge. They thought they talked him into coming over, so that way they could probably sit down and have a conversation or whatnot. But when somebody's in that state of mind, they don't have the logical thinking to be like, okay, let me get on over there to save my child's life, kind of thing. Let me go over and confide in these people. Like this person already confided in you. They're you basically made things harder for them to basically open up, discuss, or do or feel safe. Um, I'm sure I shouldn't be positive but then again, not saying that I have my own experiences, but we'll just say I know. And you you don't leave them alone. They're on the phone with you. You leave them on the phone. You call. You have another family member in your household. Families nowadays. Every member in their household has a cell phone. While one person's on the phone, the other person's calling 911 to get them there. To that way they can get there faster than you can. Especially if you're not able to make it to them, you're trying to convince them to come to you. Um, you call 911. You have somebody go do a welfare check, saying they're at the park. You need to go do a quick search at the park, or a quick drive drive through check at the park. Um, can we get an ambulance out there? Something. You never hang up with that person off the phone. Um you don't lose contact with that person, especially if it's a loved one. You just don't. Um, Such a tragedy. Again, we need to be we need to be responsible. We need to take action. We need to. Yes, my. And so we really need to make better decisions for our family members, our kids, and not including that, we need to train our future generation on these types of issues too. That way they don't continue to happen. Um, Again, I feel like if this person who he has spoken with and called and confided in, if they were trained and had the proper information, the proper resources, and the proper tools, I really think that a life could have been saved. Two lives could have been saved. Um, I this is just a sad story. I mean, you can't blame nobody. You can't. I mean, it's a sad story that he felt some sort of way, and he felt like there was no other way but this way. And that is the sad part. Whatever was going on, whatever was going on or happening, that that's the sad thing that he felt like there was no other way besides what he did. And again, trigger warning, I'm sorry, but these are just things that do need to be brought to the front light. These things do need to be tackled. That we do need to save our children. We do need to inform our children. We again, these are our futures. This is what is going. These are the people who are going to be taking care of us. So we want them to be knowledgeable. We want them to be informed. We want them to make the right decisions. And again, I know these stories were hard to listen to, but again, all these stories besides that one about the again decapitation was in Minnesota, but all these stories happen here in Texas, and about half of those stories happen here in Bear County, Texas. So, out of all those videos, they were here in Texas. Again, Texas is very high when it comes to certain things. Whoa, what is playing? That scared me. And is this a sign that, y'all telling me to shut up over here on what you're talking about? Spirits, spirits, spirits. Okay. That that literally scared the bejesus out of me. Okay. Let me see. quick. Okay, so the abuse and neglect here in Texas. Let's look at the statistics. In 2023, there were 54,476 confirmed child victims of abuse and neglect in Texas. Children younger than 1 year made up the largest age group of victims in 2022, representing 10,075 of that 54,207 total cases that year. In 2022, 176 children died due to abuse and neglect in Texas. Here, let me share this on the screen so that way y'all can follow with me. In 75% of child maltreatment cases in 2022, the perpetrators were parents of the child. So, 3/4 of these children's abuse and neglect happened from their own parents. It comes from their own family member, from the person that's supposed to keep them safe, from this type of stuff. This is what goes on in Texas. In 2022, 245,430 referrals for child abuse and neglect were made in Texas, with 207,429 of those being screened in for a response by Child Protective Services. So that leaves about only 42,000-ish, give or take, that Child Protective Services didn't get involved. A report from February 2025 indicated that child deaths from abuse and neglect were at their lowest point in Texas in 2024, with 99 child deaths. So this is the lowest point. This is what I'm assuming they considered a good year because they didn't reach 100 deaths, but they reached 99 child deaths in 1 year. A significant drop from the average range of 150 to 200 fatalities annually. However, another report from March 2025 raises concerns that this decline may be misleading, coinciding with policy changes that reduced investigations into child fatalities and redefined what constitutes death by neglect. Domestic violence. 1 in 3 Texans will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Intimate partner violence rates are highest among girls and women aged 16 to 24, nearly triple the national average. Again, this is just Texas. In 2023, 59% of victims seeking shelter in Texas due to domestic violence were turned away due to lack of space. Now, this is what happened with that previous story I did with that person that traveled to San Antonio and she got turned away because our facilities are full here. So she had her and her 5 kids were sleeping in the car because she was trying to make sure her kids were safe. She had nowhere to go, no help, no nothing. This is what happens. Over 200 people died from domestic violence that died from domestic violence in Texas in 2023. So over 200 cases, domestic violence cases ended in death. Stalking is also a significant issue linked to other forms of violence. Reports indicate that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 13 men, so it is not biased or racist. Abuse is abuse and it will happen to anybody and everybody. Women and 1 in 13 men in Texas have been victims of stalking. A high percentage of women who were murdered or survived murder attempts by an intimate partner were stalked beforehand. Elder abuse. In fiscal year 2024, Adult Protective Services in Texas received over 88,000 reports of abuse involving individuals aged 65 and older. there was a notable increase in reported elder abuse cases from 2022 to 2023, rising from 60,000 to over 83,000 elderlies. Recognizing the signs of elder abuse is a major challenge. In Kamal County, for example, there were 717 reports of elder abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation in 2024. Additionally, statistics show disparities in healthcare access and higher suicide rates among certain demographics with this age group. These statistics likely underestimate the true extent of abuse in Texas, as many cases go unreported due to fear, shame, or lack of awareness of resources. So, again, Texas is. Hey. But yes, Texas is a big problem when it comes to any type of abuse. Obviously, it states here we're one of the largest groups of victims for child deaths, one of the largest for domestic violence, and one of the largest for elderly abuse. So, when it comes to abuse in Texas, it is a very, very big issue that needs to be tackled and taken care of, because for people who are trying to get away from abuse, to suffer, to endure more pain than what they were originally at with the abuser, with their abuser, it just doesn't seem fair at all. Like, these people um suffered the hands of suffer from the hands of somebody else. They get away, and then you have the right to turn them away. Like, I don't understand that. Like, I really don't. I really don't. I really think there should be bigger facilities for this type of stuff. I think when there should be communities for for the abused. Again, I'm talking about cities, not just, apartment complexes or little state programs that they have that, they limit themselves to certain type of regulations and things like that, and money restrictions and financial restrictions. They need to build a city. They need to have their own little city. Somebody needs to buy, 100,000 acres for their and create their own little city. And and unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever going to be rich enough to buy 100,000 acres, guys. So I know that sounds like an unrealistic thing, but I'm sure somebody out there with the money and the heart can definitely make their own town and get their own city going, and run it how they want to run it. You know what I mean? So to know that the abuse, once they leave their abuser, have no place to go, no help, no resources, no nothing. So again, um this is why I do what I do, so that way people have a place to go, whether it's, I mean, it may be temporary at this point, whether it's a hotel, a motel, Airbnb, a vacation rental, which is, I'm a travel planner. Those will usually be cheaper, guys. So please, ever traveling, look into vacation rentals first before looking at hotels. Especially if you're having multiple people traveling, you're going as a group or something, family or something. But anyway, off the subject. So, this is why I really am gunning for to change. So that way, people who do get away from their abuser, they have a place to go, a secure place to go. That's what I'm saying. It would be nice to have a city to where there's the interest of the city is guarded, with security, almost like, their own little community. You know what I mean? So they will have their own law enforcement. They will have their own, you know what I mean? They'll have their own safe precaution. Like, if you have law enforcement that went through the same thing you went through and understood what you went through, and who is fighting to keep you safe, there's nothing more you can ask for when it comes to a survivor of abuse. So, again, thank you for being here. This was a long, sad ending to what started out to be an okay juicy gossip with Ken Paxton and the unfortunate situation with the flooding, keeping everybody updated. It looks like the weather is pretty much staying par as for now, but it's still dark and gloomy. And hopefully, everybody stays safe in the flood and the weather and things like that. So again, I am going to be having my event on July 19th at the Wiener Schnitzel. If y'all are local here in San Antonio, Texas, you're more than welcome to come out, join me. The more the merrier. It will be at Wiener Schnitzel, so bring your appetite. And if your appetite for hot dogs, I guess. Yes, it is a hot dog franchisee. They have they're pretty. I'm not sure they're everywhere yet, but I know it's a pretty as far as here, n I should say well known, but they're starting to become known over here. I think they're traveling from California and working their way, coming from the West, going to the East kind of thing. So we only have really 2 here in San Antonio, so you can't really, not be able to find me. So, again, it'll be the hours of 2 and 5 on July 19th. We'll be having it's a little charity fundraiser. We'll be out there with cups and stuff to sell. Well, not sell, but to fundraise. You donate something, $1, $2, $5, $10. You'll get something. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I'm doing that. Anything that'll earn a little bit money for the organization. Again, if you want to support the channel, you're more than welcome to support it through the YouTube, through Twitch, through Rumble, through Patreon, through any other way, any other platform I'm on. Um, I I'm still trying to figure out a way to keep, I need to keep my, channel, up and par so I can keep spreading the word. But at the same time, I need to make, collect funds for my organization and make sure I help the people that need help. So eventually I will come up with my products for, my merchandise for Dishing Tea with D show. So if you do want to donate to either the show or to the organization, just go to the QR code and you could just put show or VVLS or something like that so I can determine on where to allocate the funds to at this point. But eventually I'm gonna get some Dish and Tea with D merch, and that way that'll help support the channel, and my Vivid Lifestyle merch will help support the organization. So um, just trying to keep on spreading the word and stuff like that. So again, you can go to the QR code at the top of the screen. You could donate there. You can go to the link down at the bottom of the screen that says streamlabs.com/Dish and Tea with D. That'll bring you to my website, and from there you can find the merch store is on there, and you can email me from there, and you can even watch the live from there, and a lot of other things from there. So definitely want to get over to the site if you haven't. And then that is pretty much it. So let me take this off the screen real quick, 'cause I'm sure we don't want to be just staring at the word abuse the whole time and neglect. So it's a little depressing. So again, thank you for being here with me. Again, I will be making it to your channel, get to know either today or tomorrow, and then I would definitely see what's going on and how everything is going. I would try to make my rounds. Again, thank you for being here, Miss Rainbow Tasha. Definitely always a pleasure of having you. You always keeping me on my toes with all these stories. Ken Paxton was an interesting one, which slammed it down. It was like it came up, and yeah, that's definitely one we want to keep like an eye, but underneath the carpet an eye kind of thing, behind the door, peeking kind of thing, because when you get something sealed like that for a divorce just because you committed adultery, I don't see why you should sue them. But again, we'll find out, right? And then with the weather, everybody again stay safe. If you are here in Texas, anywhere around the Kerr County, Ingham County, Bexar County, anywhere in within that 30 to 60 mile radius around. I know we have a flood watch right now. I think it's a flood watch all the way, a flood warning until 11 o'clock tonight. So it's it's chaos everywhere. I mean, we're getting slammed by every which way. I think the devil is trying to work its magic right now. So again, I am gonna go continue to do some more research on some more stories here in Texas and see what else is going on because according to these statistics, that that's that's way too much. That's way too much. So there's going to be a lot of stories out there coming out. Again, we're only in July, and I think maybe only two of those stories were late last year, like October, November timeframes. So again, all these stories that I presented today were within at least the year, and of when it happened, and that's just sad. And I only did maybe like 10 different stories real quick, and just to kind of cover them and put them out there. And it was harsh. It was very heart heavy. So I am gonna go and probably go watch some I don't know, some Moana, or maybe Chicken Little, or I don't know, Little Mermaid. I really don't know, but this was really heavy live today. So I just want to say thank you, Kiki Eyes. Rest in peace. Get to know Rainbow Tasha, all of y'all who stopped by. Show some love. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And if whenever if you guys have a story that y'all want to share, y'all are more than welcome to let me know. I would definitely, you know, give y'all the floor to speak. Let me take down this trigger warning. Sorry, trigger warning still up. Now you have a trigger warning about me just talking your ear off to death. Okay, so again, I'm gonna call it for the day. I was on live this morning with Nick's Mountain Goat. I think it was Nick's Mountain Goat, Temper. I've already forgot it. Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna have a trouble with his name, but I definitely want to reach out to him. He has a good story to tell. Hopefully, I can get him on my channel to interview. And such a different side. I always want to know about other sides of people's stories and things like that. Like, especially if we experience similar things, but in a different way. Like, I would like to, how you overcame your way, because everybody takes their own little paths. So again, I do want to, reach out to him. So if you missed the live, I will go back and share the video because yeah, it was a lot. I was hungry this morning too, just like Nick was. Nick was nighttime when I was morning. So she was hungry because it was late. I was hungry because I had just woken up, and you know how that goes. So I went straight to eating, and then I came on here and started my live. So I will go back and repost, share her live that I was on. That way you can go back and see. She does great work, along with all the other content creators that she has on there. We all share the same passion, which is speaking out about these types of issues. Um, so again, thank you for being here, everybody. Hopefully you have a safe Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Relax the rest of the because tomorrow you guys got to go to work. It's Monday. It'll be back to work day. So y'all just take the rest of the day easy. Be safe. And again, don't forget, pinkies up.